Let that shit slide. Let that shit slide.
Man, put the eighth down and come solve these problems.
We're gonna get this thing popping. I want to ask you something on this level, because I met you as Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think Ron is short for something, but I don't want to assume. So, what's your name?
Ronald.
Ronald.
Mm-hmm.
Full. So Ronald.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bet.
It's so funny because different people that I've met in different stages in my life know me about different things. So when I was younger, like elementary school, from toddler, people, family friends on my dad's side call me Little Ron. And then when I went to school, primary, I call myself Ronald. Middle school, Ronald. I shifted it in high school to Ron. And then, I have some people call me Rick. I got friends that call me Rick, RJ. Like, it just depends on how we met.
Where Rick come from?
My friends playing around. Joking around. They're like, oh yeah, that's, and it's just stuck. I got a couple people that just, every time I hear it, I already know who it is,
That's what that nickname all about.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's perfect. You pretty much answered the first question because that's how we start around here. It's, what they call you, where you from. See what I mean? Because I wanted to start with, I know you as Ron and that's how it was introduced, but nah. What your people call you? You know what I'm saying? But I already know. Rick. I like that one. That's high school though.
No, Rick was college. My homie is from college. Guys I knew in high school, we ended up going to the same college. We didn't even know. Just kind of happened towards the end. You find out who gonna be where you at kind of thing. And I ended up knowing a whole handful of people.
Wow.
And we just bonded. So, these my circle of friends to this day.
Well, you went to somewhere local, kind of close to your home?
Here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I went to fam. Yeah.
So that's definitely not a local place, but it is in the sense of
close. It's close.
A lot of people from Central Florida will go to up north to school, like North Florida for school. That's what I mean.
I never thought I would go there. Oh, it's so ignorant. I feel now that I think about it, because
going to fam.
Well, for me, I'm just talking about my ignorance of not knowing anything about HBCUs at a younger age. I know some people that go, like when I went to fam, I realized that people had legacies of going to the same school. I never knew that, So like with HBCUs and this fam in general, since I've been there, people got great grandmas, dads, granddads. Yeah, they all expect you to go through this pipeline, of education. Yeah. And I got to fam. I originally wanted to go to UF.
Okay.
And it was just a school that, when I was younger, I liked the football team, I liked the colors, I liked things they had going on from seeing on TV. I'd never really been there. Yeah. But then I didn't really put the effort in my GPA and my academics to prepare myself for it. So when it got to that time to really enroll, I didn't have the qualifications. So I ended up getting into FAM, BCC, and I got into St. Leo. And I chose FAMU. I found out my best friend got in. And I was like, oh, bet me and you about to be roommates. And then we got there and found out we knew about 10, 20 more people. So, working out. And I settled there, and it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made.
You still have those connections with them to this day, or?
My circle of friends that I went to school with, yeah. We talk all the time.
That's positive. So, on the show, what do you want to go by? Let's start there. What do you want to go by? Because I call you Ron, Mr. Anderson, but I got a litany of names. I just got Lil Ron. I'm trying to understand a few of these. So, what would you like to go by when we were talking?
Let's do Ron A.
Ron A. Okay.
That's part of my last name. First letter of my last name.
Okay. All right. So, Ron A. What's your motto in life? Words to live by or either words to die to? You have anything like that?
I've most recently been a person who likes to start and finish things, especially something that I feel strongly about. Also, do your best or whatever you decide to do. Lead with passion, and hard work and love. I feel like you got to have all three.
That's interesting.
What should I say? Good work ethic, because you got to have that.
I'm just sitting there thinking about it because, leading, so you're leading with love and you have the passion, but it's like you got to still have the follow through because that's the work ethic.
Because, some of those things, even though if you love something, it's going to be, I'm constantly learning now. Like, I talk to people all the time about like work-life balance, especially as a creative. Like you're constantly having ideas flow through your mind that come in spurts. And so over time, you feel like you realize that you have to find ways to get them out. But as you get on different jobs or you have these different situations, like you have to manage that time because depending on what you're doing, it needs the certain amount of brain power to function, and it might block other things out because you use certain parts of your brain. And so that's why I say that, because the work ethic, you have to do it. If you set it up in a way to where you have a plan and you're going to do something at a certain time every day or weekly, monthly, then you're going to keep pushing it versus it gets tough and you feel like you can't do it. That love is there, that passion is there, but you don't have the extra push that next win to really get you to make it move.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm constantly thinking about, working on, struggling with at times.
Mm-hmm. What do you do to get you out of the rut, I would say? Like if you, cause you are creative, you talked about that, but maybe, I don't know, life may happen or you try to develop a routine of, okay, I'm going to do this every day, but then you fall off. How do you get back on?
Through my experience, I would say traveling, seeing different things. I'm just amazed by colors and textures. I'm a very kinesthetic learner, very visual. Smells, food, and being around other creative people that you respect or watching people on, so many free resources or YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm constantly feeding my mind with new ideas and new methods to even make some things I already know how to make or create things I know how to make. And I'm talking about art wise, trickled into, what I do as a teacher and all these other things, just finding ways to do different things. And I feel like if you keep that around you, of course, and also just positivity, like people who are going to ask you why you haven't done this in a while or what's your last piece you did? They constantly ask me or they got an attitude when I tell them I haven't done nothing. They're like, well, you need to, get on it. And so when you have that around you, over time you will move forward and work. And that's what's worked for me.
You mentioned being a teacher. What else do you do?
I am a professional drummer, professional artist, multiple mediums. I call it mixed media. I've been recently just working on just putting a whole bunch of different types of things together and making my art that way. But I do paint, draw, things like that, very crafty. Teacher and I guess you could say a businessman, but still working on how to set that up and make it successful. But also, if you want to take it personal, brother, mentor to some. So yeah, that's mostly everything I think of at the moment.
I am not trying to get you in trouble at all. You know what I'm saying? But you did mention it, so we got to talk about it. Fiance now.
Yes.
I did throw that title in there too.
Yeah.
Just in case.
And fiance, yes. Husband, I feel, to be totally honest,
Mm-hmm.
weddings and those ceremonies and things like that. I feel like, when you commit to a person, you commit it. Like, that's how I am. Especially in this stage of my life. I can't say I've always been like that.
Yeah.
I've grown over the years. I've learned some things.
Yeah.
I had ups and downs, got hurt, the whole thing. But at this point in my life, like, my commitment is strong. It is what it is. Like, I'm married, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you mentioned being an author. I want to touch on that a little bit, but what does creative mean to you? Like, being a creative, like, what is that to you?
I feel like being a creative is thinking about an idea, thinking of ways to make it happen, and then doing it. So visualizing something, coming up with a plan to actually make it a thing, like something that's tangible.
Actualization.
and then making it makes you creative. And then if you talk about creativity, it's just, thinking outside the box on a certain thing that you're trying to accomplish.
Unorthodox. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like that. You've mentioned a lot of names, a lot of titles. Any one of them maybe stick out to you the most? Like, hey, I kind of hang my hat on this one. I ain't gonna say it's the most important or it's the one that, but if you are going to introduce yourself or like, and you want to throw something out there, what title you kind of leading with?
I lead with artist and creative mostly.
Okay.
And then I'll come with the educator. Then, when you talk about education, you talk about mentorship and all these different things. So it's like an umbrella for other things that I do.
Yeah.
But I personally feel like artists are the most powerful people in the world. One of the most powerful types of people.
Because of the influence?
Because everything has to be created at some point. Has to be thought of, drawn out, or created on some type of software, and then create it into something that people can use. And that's for whatever field you want to think of.
This is gonna be fun. Cause I think you mentioned that you were a PK. Like you're a preacher's kid? Mm-hmm. All right. This is gonna be fun. Let's talk. Cause I don't know like the religion or anything, but I want to say that from what I do understand, we as beings cannot create anything. Everything's been already created. Now we can make things from things that the things that have already been created for us, but we can't create ourselves. I think we can make. I think we can improve on things. I think we do have ideas, and we can bring them forth. But as far as the creation on a physical level, as far as, anything, they all come from something that's already been here, that's already been given to us by the creator. What you think on that?
I do agree with the fact that things are built off of history. I was just recently talking to somebody about, I saw a video on Instagram about, high fashion brands traveling and going to other countries and then coming back and putting prints that resemble, tribal things, tribal patterns and stuff, things like that. So I know that things eventually evolve. So I do agree with that.
Okay. That's cool. I just wanted to know. All right. Has someone ever given you a last chance, and for what?
A last chance?
Yeah, like ultimatum type. Like, yeah, Rick, you better not ever do this. Yeah. Don't step that line, bro.
I don't think so. Not that I could think of. And I would say that because, especially now, I'm such like a problem solver and like let's sit down and talk about this to where I don't feel like it would get to that point.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that it never happened. I just can't think of anything recent.
All right. So I'll give you a little nudge. So let's not like, and I'm not saying you are, but if we were thinking relationship stuff, maybe let's not think that. Let's go, life-wise, mama, daddy, school, job, just in life. Anyone ever saying, gotta tighten that up, because if you don't, something negative may happen, like losing a job or different type of position in life. Anything? Nothing? And I'm only nudging just to see how deep it goes. If there isn't, there isn't.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about it.
Yeah, take your time.
I can't think of anything at the moment.
Okay. I want to ask you about your book really quick.
Sure.
Because we talked about being the author, but how did you even come up with the concept for the book?
So it was a very interesting process even starting this project, because I call it a project because it's not done. It's just a part of the package.
Okay.
So in 2016, I was playing for this church in Tallahassee, and the pastor had a message about imagination.
Okay.
And so I never heard a pastor even talk about like a topic like that.
Right.
So I thought it was cool, but he was just talking about like visualization, thinking of something and then making it come to fruition like we just talked about. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I went home, and then next thing you know, like this concept came to me. And I had a notebook at the time that I was writing a lot of notes in about, I was researching about finance, being a millionaire, all these different things I was constantly learning about at the time. So I wrote notes down in this book, this notebook. And so I wrote the whole concept down in a whole sitting, one sitting. And I was like, wow, like that's really cool. So I read through it, and I was like, okay. And I had never heard it before. So the concept was to create a project that helped young people embrace their uniqueness. Because being in the school system and just being around, mentorship and things like that, I realized that a lot of people aren't comfortable in their own skin from a young person, like from primary school. I see it all the time still in first grade.
It's conditioned out of you, in my opinion. Like from what I see, I think it's conditioned out of you as a youth. Unless you have someone who's older who's going to help promote and push you into the creativity. Like instead of when you try to be creative or do something different, do something that's away from the norm, they try to correct you and get you back in line compared to, well, you want me to do it this way because that's the way you see it, but I see the result and I literally could do this and I can still get there, but you want me to do it this way. So that's what I think. Like you're creative because you just naturally are. It's in you, but well, not everybody, but if it's in you,
it can be cultivated. I think it can be cultivated.
Right. That's what I mean. I went to a art school, so they pushed that on us. I went to Rochelle School of the Arts. It was a magnet school, so they pushed education first, but it was also, we letting y'all be creative. We're gonna have y'all do everything. You can pick a major. That's great. And your major is going to be like, okay, so what I mean is this. You can major in band, chorus. You can major in piano, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But then you can go do something totally different. You can go do the arts department. And even in that, they got so many different things you can do. You then can go to drama. They got different things in drama. Then you can go to band. What was the other stuff? They had all kinds of dance. And even in dance, now you got modern, you got jazz, you got ballet. Like, so they had a lot. I can't even think of it all right now. It's just all different things. And watch this. So now you say, well, I want to do one thing and I don't want to, and that's what I want to do. So I want to do art. I'm a major in art. I want to draw. I want to paint. I want to do clay. Cool. You still got to go do all of those stuff. But they give you more time to do this, but you got to go experience everything, whether you want to or not.
That's how it should be.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Because you never know if you don't
know what you don't,
Especially at that age, you're still figuring stuff out. I'm still figuring stuff out.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to come up with positive ways on how to teach students how to embrace their uniqueness and, want to be different, but in the mindset of a role model and a leader. And so I wanted to be a really simple read. That was my goal. And so I decided to do ABCs of being cool and teach tips, focusing on each letter of the alphabet.
Okay. You said your project is not complete.
No.
So, what's your goal? What's your end goal?
My end goal is to create a program of ABCs of being cool. So it's going to be an overall curriculum for students. My goal is to do K through 12. I'm starting with K through 5 now because that's my expertise.
Okay.
But I'm going to have, so this right now, what we're looking at is the workbook.
Okay.
And so the workbook has the different tips to teach students how to be, to use their positive strategies to hone in on themselves and learn themselves and embrace their uniqueness and who they are as leaders. But then also I want the hardback book to have the illustrations to show people what I think about when I say those things, what I feel like, people should see when they see these things.
Right. A
visual that represents respect others. Also, when I have the workbook, I'm going to do the hardback book with illustrations. Then I have audio book. The audio book was first, and a friend of mine, Drew, he gave me the idea because he was talking about how, you know, children now always on their tablets and in the car.
Mm-hmm.
They got all the students now got headphones from 5 years old to 12th grade, high school, college.
Right.
You know, so why not give them something positive to listen to? Because I know there's positive content out there. To me, it's just not enough.
Flood.
So I wanted to contribute to that, give them something to listen to. But then we came up with the idea, me and Drew was like, well, what if we add some production behind it? What if we add some beats? I'm a musician. You know, we can add some digital drums on there and really, you know, because my students and students that I encounter and people just in general, you know, music is moving. You know, so if you have something that's going to make people move, there, in my opinion, more receptive of internalizing it.
I agree. And
so I produced my first track. So on the audiobook that's available on all streaming platforms, it's, the production's mine. I created it on a laptop with my brother, just showing me the ins and outs of how to work. I think it was on Fruity Loops or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I put it behind it, and then I went to an engineer in Largo, Patrick Hare, who did an amazing job just trying to make it come to life and giving it that, you know, that depth. Like we were talking about that stadium music, that echo, that, you know, where it resonates with people after you say it. And so with those two combinations and some sound effects for kids and, you know, just things to make you feel, like, you know, you have those, when you watch like cartoons or these animated shows, they have those sounds that just put you in the moment. All that put together, it came up with a really cool audiobook, which is some people consider a song. I say audiobook because it's just a audio version of
all the words and letters.
Yeah.
But if this is the workbook, because I see, because you brought that up, there's more in the book. When people do get the physical copy of the book or even the digital form, there's more in it. I see that there's activities and things that you can actually do.
So the reason I decided to do a workbook is because I don't really see a lot of workbooks like this with that type of content, but then with work to do as far as like reflecting, writing, drawing your ideas, what did you learn? So even though these are simple to read concepts and simple to read tips, you know, you can interpret them in so many different ways. So I have the reader, the student, the person, whoever, the parent, because I would love the whole concept for the workbooks is have the parent and the child have a conversation about these tips
together.
So the child can give their perspective of what they think it is. The guardian and the parent can give their perspective of what they think it is and what it should be, the expectation.
Right.
And then the child can reflect on it and write and draw what they see from there. So for example, for our respect others, my directions on the other side says write an example of how you can treat others with respect. So in this box, you can write multiple examples of how you can treat others with respect, all the way down to, you know, holding the door for somebody. You know, using kind words. That's what I talk about in my class. Please, thank you.
Yeah, courtesy.
Those things like being courteous.
Yeah.
You know, they can write as many ways to respect somebody in this box as possible. And then what I would want them to do over time is when you keep it, once you fill it all out, and then you keep it over time, you can go back and see if you changed and see your growth over time with these different tips.
Yeah.
And maybe you can go back and change it if you want to. You buy another book and you do it again.
I was about to say, because on the digital form, they would be able to do it over and over. But for the physical, they would definitely need to get a few copies. But I mean, for something like this, and get a few for the family, though. Like, you know, everybody work in it. That's my thing.
I feel like, in my opinion, these concepts and these tips in this book are life-changing for any young person. I would say any young person that can comprehend, you know, words. And I would say probably as young as maybe preschool. But I say first grade because you can read independently. You're supposed to be able to read independently in first grade. Mm-hmm. You come out of kindergarten really reading it. Like, honestly, so if a child is on grade level in kindergarten, they should be able to be reading independently out of kindergarten.
Okay.
So you're talking about 5 going into 6 years old.
But even as an adult, the parent working with the child, this is a great refresher, especially if they're not lifelong students.
Yes.
See, some people get to a certain age and they feel like they know everything. They don't need to learn anything else. Mm-hmm. But I am not one of them. I'm still learning. I'm constantly learning. I'm always taking in new information, you know? So this is a refresher. This is something that they can work together with, but then also, looking these words up, you know, y'all coming to your own conclusions of what they mean. If you don't like what they mean, I should give it a new definition. That's where I'm at with it. I know we're on the clock though, so let's slide to this one real quick. When have you ever made the first move?
When I seriously decided to be a musician full time, or like just be a professional musician, I made it my business to put myself in situations to meet other people and network, to put myself in that position to make sure that I got the experience that I wanted.
Okay.
And so coming out of college, so my junior year of school, I'm almost done with my program. I did a major in education, elementary ed.
Okay.
And I got to the point to where I'm like, am I going to do this for 30 years? Like, you know, having that kind of conversation with myself. Do I love this? Really? Can I see myself doing this for free? You know, those really big questions that, to me, a person should ask themselves when they're considering doing something for a long time. And as a profession to feed yourself and your family. And so, after that, I was like, so what could you do for free? What would you do without getting paid? And eventually work to make sure you can benefit from it. And I came all the way back to music, which is one of my first loves from being a toddler. And so once I did that, I was like, I'm going to finish my program. Still going to have that in the bag because I am naturally good at it and it is a passion of mine. But I feel like at the time, the music was trumping everything and it really weighed on me. So graduated. First thing I did with my graduation money was buy a drum set.
Okay.
With all my cash.
Okay. Where are you practicing at? Because drums are loud.
In the house at the time.
They love you. They love
I practiced when they were not home.
Okay.
And when they were not home, but, you know, in the living room.
Oh, wow.
And then I was bringing people over to have jams. I brought a couple homies over to have a jam session.
Damn, that's nice.
But, you know, I wasn't living there at the time. It was just in between school sessions. I was still living in Tallahassee.
Okay.
So even when I graduated, I stayed. I met a network of people. Some of my friends were still in school.
Yeah.
You know, so as I'm finding my way and figuring that was the place for me to start because I knew a little bit of people.
Yeah.
That was there doing what I wanted to do.
Right.
I was only at home for the summer. So, you know, they gave me some grace. You know, my mom, my dad let me do my thing because they knew how passionate I was about it. So when I got back during my student teaching, where you're like about to exit out of the program, you have to have so many hours in a classroom and you're pretty much the main teacher, but you have a supervising teacher that's supposed to show you the ropes. You know, they're there, that's their classroom, but they give you feedback. They help you do things like lesson planning, all these different things.
Okay.
This guy ended up being an African-American male, which is the first African-American elementary school teacher I ever met. And he happened to be from my hometown. And his people live next to my grandparents, my grandmother. So he knew somebody who was a band member and a leader of a band. And he was like, well, look, if you're really serious, let's finish your degree and I'll introduce you to this person and you got to make your way from there.
You believe like coincidences? I
believe it happened. Whatever your focus is, you know, you're going to run into that. You know, whatever you put your mind to, whatever kind of thoughts you have, you're going to go to that. You're going to more so move towards that path. But I do feel like things are, you know, put in line for you, you know, over time, if you were on the path to receive them.
That's a good point.
You know, so I feel like that was, that was like, wow.
That's a good point.
You know, so me and him were cool. When I finished the program, he gave me the connect. And then, you know, I met the connect face to face. And then so happened that this person was teeter-tottering with his drummer. His drummer was in, but he had so many other obligations because, musicians, you know, we always, especially if you're a working musician, if you don't have a solid situation that's paying you and that's how you pay your bills, like you're always moving around. You have multiple engagements, sometimes on the same day. So the drummer for this particular band, when I was really aggressively and serious about getting on, had a lot of engagements, and he couldn't really commit to what this guy wanted, this band leader wanted. And so I constantly talked to him. I showed up to different situations. I had gear, which is a big thing for musicians, because especially drummers and people that have a lot of equipment, they don't have the full gear for ready to go situation like a show or a fill-in. So I had just bought the set from my money, and I had everything to go, bags included, whatever travel situation. So whenever his main drummer couldn't show up, he was like, all right, let's fill in for a practice. Let's go. And so I showed up on time, and, we worked it out. We tested it out. And then, you got to have the powwow with the band to see if this person is up to par with what I need. And they agreed, and they let me in over time.
Right.
From there, I catapulted to different situations from there, and then kept it going.
Man, being ready.
Yeah.
Being ready, bro. Like it's like when preparation and timing meets, like you didn't necessarily know that it was going to pan out the way it did, but you're very passionate about something. You're doing it. You're meeting people. You're making connections. You're seeing it through, not just going off a dream because you actually finished your program when you could have just, that's what I want to do. And I just go off and go do it. You actually seeing it through. I don't know, man. Timing is right. Timing is exact. I'm one of them type of people. And keep your work on you. My OG told me that. My mentor put me up on that too. So keeping your work on you just simply means whatever you're passionate about, whatever your craft is, once the timing meets for you to get to where you need to or meet the person you need to take you to that level, you can't be talking about, okay, well, let me go do this and let me go do that. No, I got my work on me, whatever it is. If I do a podcast, I always got my microphones on me. I always got my equipment on me, because you never know when something pop off and you be like, oh man, I got to go and do. No, bro, you got to be ready. Whatever you do, keep your work on you. You got a full set. You got everything you need. You see what I mean? For you to do something and help benefit somebody, but that's going to bring benefit for you. So keep your work on you. That's all. I just wanted to, a little fortune cookie on that one. He was ready.
It helped so much.
He was ready, man.
It helped so much. And people really appreciate that. And now that I'm older and I'm learning and I'm cultivating a team and have my own goals, it's super important. And that was a learning moment for me, and a stepping stone to make sure I take that other opportunities, even outside of music.
Would you care to share maybe some of the hurdles that you have faced when cultivating your team?
So when I first, and you're talking about like a team now or just teams in general?
Your team now.
So my life team of my friends, we met at a young age, as teenagers. And we really got close in college when we were, early 20s, things like that. And the unique thing about us, and one thing that we always talked about, was having somebody in beneficial places in all different facets of importance. So I'm an educator. Best friend is in the medical field. Another one of our friends is an electrical engineer. Another one a pharmacist. Another one a finance expert. Doctor. My cousin is a doctor, things like that. Having that network of people, you're going to need those things throughout life. So what better than to have a trustworthy person that you can get firsthand information from and know how to move and how to structure your own plan and cultivate something together. When it comes to music, it was trial and error. Being with certain people for a season and really paying attention and observing to what people are doing and what works. And then discarding things that you don't feel like works and adding your own spin to it. But then once you get to a road to where it's not growing, then you have to respectfully let it go and search for something better with the new knowledge that you have in order to continue to move forward with your plan. And that plan may be the same plan or the same goal or a different one with adjustments, with new ways. So moving in that manner helped me to find some very beneficial people and some very, important people that I consider friends and really honest and motivated associates and people I respect.
Like that. Thank you. Well, let's hit him with the last one. Let's discuss something in your life you just can't seem to get over or push through, even as time passes. So this is not like day-to-day stuff. This is maybe like something that I thought I may have solved, I thought I may have fixed, but then, man, I'm right back here again. That type of thing.
At the moment, I can't think of anything specific, but I know that I battle with thinking about things that didn't work out before. Failures, harping on failures in the past and having to constantly shift my thinking and look towards the future because, failures, you call them failures, lessons, things like that, they're necessary to be successful in my opinion. But, it's something that I go back and forth with. And I feel like in order to really move, you have to be in a space where you have to let that part go and continue to focus more on the positive than the negative. Because I feel like a person who constantly focuses on failures will never really get to where they want to go. Because they're always thinking that they're not supposed to be in the space or whatever happened previous is going to happen again. And they're not going to get to where they want to be.
I call that living life in the rear view. Well, Tupac called it that, but it's a good song.
But I think I've gotten better with it over time. Just learning myself and learning about successful people and that a lot of people who are successful go through failures and that's a part of the game. What people say, part of the strategy to the way you get to success and people change the verbiage and say lessons. And so that's more so what I think about now. Lessons. What do I get out of not getting to a goal that I wanted at that moment? Do I let it stop me or do I reflect on it, figure out what happened and then move forward? And if I come into it again, not make the same mistakes. Yes. And then envision the change. And I think that's a really important step too, when you envision the finishing of what you got going on. Really big now on like visualization. Seeing myself finish a project, seeing myself finish a task. Yeah, man. That's big. Here we go. I want to touch on a few things just real quick. When it comes to the failure and studying like successful people, what I found out is like, they failed many times. You only got to be right once. That's what I keep in mind. And and I ain't mean to cut you off. No, this is good. Go. People reach their goals at so many different stages in their life. And the more I find out about that, it just keeps me moving. And also because I can detach myself from things I see outside in society, like things I see on social media, things I see other people do. I can say that's not me, that's them. Mm-hmm. But the me being able to do that, I feel like that helps me to move forward in that way, what you just said. Right. But I think that's something that a lot of people can't do though. Yeah, I agree. You go focus on all the many failures, and I think that's kind of getting you stuck in the mud in the sense of you're not moving forward now. It's like you're harping, you're dwelling. You gotta what my friend told me in the wailing room or something. What did he tell me? Like, you can't be in the wailing room. But damn, what did I can't even think about it. I ain't go, but it was something where it's pretty much like, yeah, you did it. But the same thing I was talking about earlier, I know they don't know what we're talking about, but pivot in the sense of, okay, it ain't go the way you thought it was going to go, bro. Like, okay, I get it, but why we tripping? Like, pivot, move and keep going. Like, keep going. And that's hard sometimes. It takes some determination to move through that. Cause I still deal with that to this day. And even being a teacher, going back to that, when you're dealing with other people, when we talk about teams, when you're dealing with other people who you can't control,
Mm-hmm.
and being a person that likes control,
Yes.
it's very difficult to pivot because you want things to go exactly the way you planned. And I have to always think about, it ain't gonna work like that, like you said. And you can't control these people. You can mold a situation. You can, what we call, facilitate an environment, or you can create an environment, facilitate a lesson, but it will never go the way it's exactly supposed to because you have all these other variables and personalities.
Yeah, but now watch this. I'm going to go a step further and say that's all relationships. Even your children, you create life. You know what I'm saying? Well, with the creator and your mate, y'all come together, y'all create life, and you can, all that you just said, shape, mold, create the right environment, woo, woo, woo. And guess what? It still ain't gonna go the way you plan it to go.
That frustrates me sometimes. That really does.
That's why I had one more thing to say to what you said. This is my last thing on that. Watch this. When you were talking about focusing on the end goal, right? I'm going to give you some pushback and say, no, focus on becoming. You don't know what the end goal is going to be. You don't know where you're going to land. You know, your, I guess your mark. So you set a sight, but the result is the result, meaning I need to finish this. And my mind of finishing it is that, but that is what you created with the knowledge that you have at this point, right here where you are. So you wrote that whole thing. You said you sat down and did, in a moment, you got the whole thought out, the whole concept, right? And you now have a target of where you want to go, and you're going to go. But even throughout the path and the journey, you may meet other people, other experiences, other situations, which now broadens the end goal. You didn't have that information back then. So when you focus on becoming, wherever you land, you may surpass what you thought was your target. But if you kind of focus on this as your target, I think you might limit yourself because now you just hit that and you're like, okay, I did it. But you don't know what you're just going to come into way more information as you go towards meeting your mark. So that is your mark, but don't let that be the end goal because you limit it right now. That's my thought. Like me too. I'm like, I know my end goal of what everything I'm trying to do, but man, this thing is big as you want to make it, far as you want to take it. So it could go way bigger than just the curriculum. And I put just in there. It ain't just a curriculum, but that's what we saying it is. When actuality, this could be mandatory in every damn school, like whatever. I don't care, worldwide. So you never know. You just never know. That's all. I'm a pull back, but I get like that sometimes.
And I would say I focus on the goal to make sure I stay on track, but I'm always open to the things that happen in the process.
Okay.
Because like you said, it could veer. It could go in, it can go past, it can go to the left, it can go to the right. Yeah. As long as it's in the realm of how I felt at the time, because, when I wrote it, it was just for a certain reason.
Okay.
So as long as it meets the reason,
good point,
then I'm fine with it. If
right.
It veers off of the reason and turns into something else that I don't feel like would be beneficial to the reason, what the purpose of it, then I wouldn't do it.
I'm saying.
But anything that will become bigger than that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In the right space though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not just anywhere.
No, because, an advocate of, so one of my goals is to be wealthy, right? Be at least a multimillionaire, but I say wealthy for working on generational wealth.
Okay.
So I have a plan for a way that I'm going to get there, but I'm just not taking money just for no reason. Like somebody want to invest or do something with the book. If it's not aligning with the reason that I feel like it is with the purpose of it, then I can't really take it. I don't care how much it is because then somebody can tarnish what you originally aimed it to do. And I feel like that's not okay.
Yeah. Now watch this.
Cause it could benefit me, But also, if somebody spends it and then it goes into something else, then I mean,
nah, I love what you're saying because, bro, in an ideal business world, that could work, but that's the passion that you got behind it. That's the connection you got with it. And that's going to be hard to have when conducting the business, I would think.
Well,
on a large, like huge global scale.
It depends. So, like, for example,
the only reason I was talking.
If I think global and then we talk about somebody, maybe a company buying the project, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would still want some type of input. I would fully sell it without having it. That's what I'm talking about. Having
equity,
a connection to it.
Yeah.
And having in the contract some say so of how at least the overall spectrum is supposed to be put out. And I'm not just giving over full control. That's mainly what I'm talking about. Getting over full control.
Right.
But as far as like, being able to expand and other people having the resource to really move the product, then yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But we both know there's organizations, people, whatever, they have maybe another agenda that
all the time.
They could flip this whole situation.
Well, we'll end it on this. You cause you said something earlier and I jotted it down. What is failure to you? Cause we talked about failure, but what is failure to you? Cause you said, how people talk about not the lessons and I heard all that. So let's talk about for you, what is failure?
Failure to me is not getting to a goal in the allotted time that I set for myself.
Would you care to elaborate, expound a little bit on that? I mean, it's clear as day, but just a little bit, dig a little deep. Can we go deeper?
So I guess this example would be a failure, but I'm still working on it. So I don't really consider it something I'm totally done with. Cause I also feel like failure is something that you feel like you can never accomplish. So like when I was studying for my art exam to be an art teacher, I took it twice and I put so much time into it. No cards, reading textbooks all the way through. I just got into reading like fully. Like when I went to college, I got into like reading whole books, but I'm a big skimmer, but when you put so much time and effort into something and you feel like you got it, then you go into a situation and it doesn't pan out. It just gives you that like, man, like what I do all this for, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then I did it twice. So I had two of those feelings and it just made me like, man, what's going on? Like, I know I'm an artist. I know I can teach people how to do it, but this standard that this organization has for me to consider myself a professional art teacher, I have not gotten to, and I'm super frustrated.
Yeah.
So that's probably like the most recent thing I can think of because I've been doing it for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something I had to sit down myself. So I took a whole break off of it because it makes you question why are you trying to do it in the first place and if you're really good enough to do it. And even though sometimes you know you're good enough to do something, when you're trying to meet other people's standards, it makes me kind of scale back. And so when that happened, I had to take a break and then I had to put myself back in the mode. Like, man, what you mean? This is something that you can do if you really want to. Now, how bad you really want to do it is the question.
Yeah.
And so it went from a failure to a lesson. And now I'm back in the position to run it back and do it again. Yeah. And then I remember another time too, I did audition to join a company to go overseas to play in pretty much cover bands, but in Japan, in China. But you got to send a video audition of all these different genres, like 4 or 5 different genres.
Oh yeah, to show.
And you got to play the tracks. You got to play the different tracks fluently. This and that. So I did that. Spent so much time. Got a videographer. This whole thing. Spent hours on it.
Yeah.
Got it back. It was like you're not good enough to come to this situation at this moment. Hit us back. And that felt like failure to me at that point because I play drums all the time, but It's a difference between setting your own goals and failing on your own rubric, and then going towards somebody else's situation and attempting to have goals but on somebody else's standards, and then have to answer to somebody else saying if you're good enough or not.
Yeah, I get that. But what's your thoughts on validation then? Because like, you know, what you're saying is it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough because this is when I hear people say like, just the measure of success. Success is what you make it, because if you're looking at success as, all right, if I don't do this, then I'm not successful, even though I do this all the time and I do it exceptionally well because I think it's good and my peers think it's good and people appreciate what I do. Mm-hmm. So it shows that I definitely know what I'm doing. So by that definition, I'm a success. Mm-hmm. However, that's, like you said, that's my line. But the world would say, well, you don't have the credential behind you, or you don't do a certain thing. So because of that, we won't classify you as that. You're not legitimate. That kind of make me think of like I got books. I like books. I'm trying to build a library, but I'm learning about certain things. And when you have published compared to self-published, and then you a published author and they come from like a publishing house, they're looked at a whole lot different than a author who is self-published or from a publishing house that may not be as prestigious as the publishing house. So who's more successful? I read one book who was self-published and that bit was awesome. Then I read the other one who was a New York best time seller from a big publishing house, and this shit is trash.
Yeah.
So who's successful?
You're right. But I think from a space of reflection, when these incidents happened to me that I talked to you about, I realized that do whatever you want to do, and in many different ways. And then you talk about like finding different avenues to get to the goal. I sat back and I was like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. What's another way to do it? So we talked about publishing. The reason why this book is coming out now and not in 2016 is because I was going back and forth with, who am I going to get to pick it up? Who am I going to pitch it to? Who am I going to get to pick it up? And I was meeting with people, and people have different opinions. Different authors have different opinions about what they feel of it. They feel like this person might do it, or it needs this, it needs that, blah, blah, blah. And then, so I sat on it for a few years. But then I also, when I gained experience, it made sense for me not to bring it out then, because now I have more experience in the field. And then I tweaked it and I changed it over time to address what I see now.
Now, did you change it, some of it based off some of the suggestions that some of the people gave you along the way?
More so wording. Sometimes more so, not the concept, but wording. Talking about like, maybe it's something is like, that age appropriate, as far as like, sight words and words that this group should know. It was more so that, but not the foundation of it. And then over time, just the platform, how was I going to give it out? How was it be perceived by different people? Mm-hmm. And, I think it was last year, I met an artist who self-published a book at a barbecue on Amazon. And I didn't even know he had a book. We just, talking around the campfire, as you would say, hanging out. And he was like, oh, yeah, I got this book, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, for real? So I overheard, and this is the first time meeting this guy. And I was like, for real? I was like, how you do that? Asking questions, being, just being curious. And he was like, well, I did this and that. I did on Amazon by myself. They got an easy platform, easy format to do. All you got to do is this X, Y, Z. I was like, are you serious? He was like, yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm going to check it out. So maybe a few months later or so, maybe a couple weeks later, I went on there, looked at the process. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, how long has this been available?
Yeah.
So I already had the content. I found ways to adapt it to that format. Got my cover art together, had my people that I know with graphics put something together for me, and now we're here. And so that, I don't know who's going to buy it publishing from a publishing house or a publishing company, went from that to me doing it myself and personally giving it to people in the audience that I want.
That's nice. I like what you're doing, bro.
And so I realized in this process that people try to put so many like, so much red tape around certain situations. Yeah. Like it's not possible to do it any way you want.
True.
And it really is. Like now, especially in this era, it's like everything's so custom. You can customize whatever you want.
Yeah.
As long as you have an audience for it. And with the technology that we have, it's very possible. So what was a straight road to do something back when I started or even before then is not the same avenues that are available now.
No, it's constantly changing. So it's going to be different in a few months.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so it's all about what you know, who you know, what kind of knowledge you have, and what you're going to do with it.
Yeah. Well, keep up, man. This shit changing.
And so we're constantly learning, constantly trying things.
Yeah.
And keeping myself motivated to continue to keep that, that artistry going, that creative energy going, because that's what's needed to address some of these issues. Yeah. Because, there's a certain standard that people feel like, people should live by, and that's not true. Because like we said before, it's cultural. It's, environment. And I feel like only people that have lived or been in those situations can communicate with those type of people. There's no cookie cutter situation, which makes it very beneficial for things to be customizable.
I have to ask, because you said it, I have to ask. So I want to, just for clarity, are you saying that the only people who could talk to them are the people who went through it?
No, I'm saying that it's people who go through similar things are able to use certain language, certain verbal and nonverbal cues to get their point across faster than a person who has not experienced those situations.
Okay. I'm down. All right. Well, I like to end every session like with, do you have any questions for me? Anything that, maybe we talked about, throughout the process? Anything you got for me? No pressure if you don't. Just wanted to ask.
What do you get from having these conversations with different types of people? What do you gain from it?
A lot of insight, a lot of introspection. I learn a lot about people and people relationships, power dynamics, just gaining different perspectives. I'm big on that.
What do you do with it?
Help people. Because with that, I can use those experiences when I talk to other people. When I sit down with people, a few things. I try to identify underlying issues and try to provide a tangible solution for you. No matter the situation, whatever you tell me, I'm trying to put you in a position to win in that particular situation. Now, it might be, I try to make it constructive, but it might be good advice. It might be bad advice. I'll tell you up front, like, look, I heard what you said. This is going to be some bad advice off rip. And I say bad because it's not constructive, but it's going to possibly get you in a position to win. So there you go, flat out. Or the other way, like, nah, we can work this out on a positive level too, though. You know what I'm saying? So I'm balanced, but I just try to put you in a position to win. I've always been able to analyze situations and try to give a different perspective to what you have going on. Like, you tell me what's going on with you. Let's try to see if that is an issue there. Tell me what you think about it. And I'll listen to that and I'm going to spin it and throw it to you and see if you can, that might work for you. Now go and try. And then we do another session. But everything we talked about, I have so much information that now when you do come back, I'm going to pick up where you are in your life at that particular time. So we need to do a kind of catch up. But at the same time, I got probably about 3 or 4 questions from just this information alone that we can pick up on to make sure that you still pushing forward towards your goal. You know, it's a real therapy thing. I have a consulting business and I'm using the podcast to where I can have these conversations with people to show that, yeah, we can do this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to put that out and get that to the world, but then now have people come talk to me and I book sessions. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I know at least for me, you can't just preach to people and you can't just teach to people. So I try to make it entertaining at the same time. So I'm doing the weed part of it with the solution part. So we try to provide solutions, but we try to have fun with it when we do it, you know? So, you know, when you come through Barbio, we got the bar, you know, we smoke if you want to smoke. We got food, you know. If we don't identify any problems or come up with any solutions, at minimum, my goal is to have you walking away feeling better from the conversation than you did walking coming in, you know. So, yeah.
I think it was a productive conversation.
Yeah, I do too.
Got some insight.
Yeah.
I do have a question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we talked about, you know, therapy, and I mentioned it being taboo to, I'll say, the Black community, not everybody in the Black community, but a good amount. Mm-hmm. When did you, or have you always been been pro counseling and therapy, or did you gradually get to the point to where you were like, okay, I think this would be beneficial for myself or my family or others? Gradually,
but I've always had it in me. And then I got quite a few jobs to where I worked in mental health and behavioral health. So I did it for over 15 years. Like, you know, so I got experience in working with seeing how behavior works and how mental health is. And I do see the importance of it. I do see the bullshit in it too. You know what I'm saying? I see both sides, but I come to my own conclusion. So I try to get more informed and study, and then I try to take that information and it's practical, but then you got to test theories. You can have a lot of things in your head, but okay, put that shit. You think it, cool. You think it's true, cool. Test it. That's a scientific approach. Got to crack a few eggs. Test that shit. Yeah. If it work, it work. If it don't, it don't. And if it don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Shit, I mean, don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
That ain't respect.
I feel like gradually, especially for me, like get to a point to where you got to be totally honest with what you got going on.
Right.
And that takes some work on yourself.
Yes.
It takes some real sit down.
Yeah.
So I remember at some points in my life, I really just sat still, sit in the room, nothing, meditate, just kind of really think it out and figure out if that's something you really want to do. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've always been a person who could appreciate time to myself, but I really appreciate time to myself as an adult because I know how important it is to sit with your thoughts, even though I think it's difficult for a lot of people to do. And I feel like since I have so many ideas now, it's definitely important to make sure you put the most beneficial ones and the most ones you feel passionate about at the top. So you got to be able to prioritize those things too, which takes time to sit down. Like I can't, what's hard, I'm not going to say I can't, it's hard for me to go shift through the noise. I have to be in that quiet space to hear myself, you know, and make sure that it connects.
Yeah.
But I know some people that can be within the elements and still do the same thing. Mm. So I feel like finding the way that I connect with myself and the ideas and what I want to do has been very beneficial to me over the years.
The meditation works.
Yeah. I've been doing meditation, and it's not consistent, but probably for maybe like last 10 years or so, maybe a little less. Oh. And the reason why I do it is just to kind of clear my mind and just focus on breathing. Like really, it calms me down sometimes. It gets me focused on what I'm about to do and not get overwhelmed. Okay. artists on a stage. I don't know if you know a lot of artists, but for me and other artists that I know, you know, you look really big on stage.
Yeah.
You're almost like a icon, whatever people feel like you are.
Yeah, larger
bigger
than
than
life.
yeah.
Larger than life.
But the artists themselves have another perspective on stage. And we're giving what we practice and what we have inside that we want to communicate, but it takes a lot of courage to be up there. So you got to get yourself in the mode to fully project that out. So I really respect people who get on that stage or even public speak or do things honestly to where they can really show people what they mean other than what they say and how they play their instruments and however they share their expression.
All right. Well, Author Ron, A.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. I end every show this way. What do you call me? How do we meet? And sell it straight. You gotta fluff it. Tell me how it go.
I call you Mr. Eric or Mr. Whitley. Is it Whitley or Whiteley?
No, it's Whiteley, but say it the way you say it. All no influence. I've been going through that all my life. That's been since first grade. Shout out to Miss Wilson.
I did recognize the E in there, but you know.
Yeah.
We met at
lack of color, L-Y. You know what I'm saying? The absence of color and L-Y. There we go. That's how you spell it.
We met at a mutual friend's business at the Timeout LLC.
Yeah.
In casual conversation, I'm waiting for my turn. You were in there doing business, buying some precious jewels, and we got connected through Chad, who already told me about what you have been doing, some of the work that you've been doing. I told him I thought it was a cool idea, and he said he would recommend me. Yeah. And so we talked, when we met, I had already had that background information. And then we got a chance to talk face to face.
Yeah.
And, you know, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Had a conversation.
Yeah.
Got some background knowledge.
Yeah.
And it seems like, you know, we were in agreement of a few things. That's why we're here now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. I appreciate you, brother. It's been good, man. Shut up.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, man. Right. I appreciate you making time for me on this.
Yes, sir.
This was good.
Sir.
Man, put the F down and come solve these problems.
Understand I don't know y'all. Remember, I love everybody. I am not your licensed therapist, and nothing shared on this podcast should be taken as medical, mental health, or legal advice. The discussions we have here are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. We engage in open, honest conversations, sometimes including the mindful use of cannabis in a therapeutic setting. So kick back, take what resonates, and remember, always consult your own licensed professional for personalized guidance.